Good evening. I've got another tackle talk for you. As I said before, I've got some time tonight. I've got some flexibility and some freedom to bust out some of these tackle talks that I've been wanting to get to and just haven't had the time to do it yet. So we recently got a snowstorm. We're snowed in. There's not a whole lot else to do other than talk about musky fishing in the season to come. So for this one, I want to focus on some Ridgways, some things that Matt's doing, some successes that I've had, and just like talk about them. And then that way, if you guys want to, shoot me questions, put it in order with Matt, I can tell you what shows he's going to be at, where, how to do that, and what's all going on there. Anyway, first thing first is I wanted to show, this is my original 10-incher. This is the first one that I bought from Matt a long time ago. The camera wants to focus on me, not the bait. There we go. All right. I bought this one from Matt a long time ago. It looks kind of interesting because he's had to repaint it once. I initially caught, I don't know, 5, 6, or 7 fish on it. I don't even remember what it was. And it needed repainted because the one basically peeled the epoxy off of it because it clamped down so hard and so far into the bait that it literally was just like peeling the epoxy off. So fortunately Matt was kind enough to fix this one up for me. I don't know how many fish this thing has on it now. This one, it's between 30 and 35. I don't know exactly where it's at. I'd have to go back and look at my photos, add them all up, and do all the things, but it's got a lot of fish on it. But the reason I'm showing you this is, well, A, because this thing is just, this is my guy, my go-to. It's just a special one. But so he used to do these Lexan lips, and that's kind of something that he's been working to move away from, something that's more rigid, more durable, something that will stand up to, the rigors of musky fishing, so to speak. I was talking with Matt recently, and he's like, I've been getting these orders from these guys in Canada or Minnesota that fish these rocks, and it's like he had never even thought or conceived of people fishing his baits in that way, where they're banging them off of rocks, and like the durability factor there, where we're basically here in Iowa either fishing some weeds or we're kind of getting them down to the timber, maybe bouncing them off a log here and there, but like the thought and concept of people just beating these baits up against the rocks was not something that was originally thought of, but again, it's super cool that these baits are just proliferating, if you will, around the United States in the way that they are. And I feel so blessed, special, and privileged to have played a part in that, in whatever small role that I've played, which it's small because these baits just catch. I haven't quite gotten to the video yet, but you guys will see some incredible fish in Canada that I've caught on these. They've caught pretty much everywhere. I had some really big fish come in on them in Minnesota, but unfortunately I couldn't seal the deal on those ones, but I will definitely be throwing them in Minnesota come this next season. So the durability solution that Matt has more or less came up with is he found a guy to CNC some of these aluminum bills. This was my first proto of what he calls the pro model, but will soon be just basically what the Ridgway is. The durability factor of the aluminum, where people are fishing them, how they're fishing them, what they're doing with these lures. It became very clear and imperative that there needed to be something addressed with those bills. So this is the solution. This is my first kind of proto of the pro. It literally got bit, and I'm not even kidding you, this thing got bit on like the 3rd or 4th cast. I bagged a beautiful, 30, I think it was 38 inch Iowa muskie with it. But like, the thing to think about with the pros is, compared to the Lexan lips, like this was one of the OG Lexans that, this is like not getting super deep, and there's a very specific scenario that I like this for, but it's not perfect for every situation as far as the Ridgways go, which this one gets a little bit deeper to where, if you're fishing like less than 5 feet, you're gonna have to be really careful how you work this, otherwise it'll get bogged down. Just because I think that metal lip, as well as just a little extra weight with that lip, and the pitch of the bill that he's kind of adjusted to now tends to get these baits a little deeper. For the most part, when I was fishing this over shad schools and like stuff like that in the fall, or bait schools in the fall, most of the time this bait I was getting between 5 and 8 foot, depending on how I worked it, how hard I worked it, and the way in which I worked it back to the boat. If some of you still have like the reinforced bills, those are the ones that I was able to get the deepest out of any of the Ridgway models so far. I don't know if it's a pitch of the bill, if it's a weighting of the lure itself, but those, and you'll see that in Canada, the one that I use there, and you'll see a reoccurring pattern with the golden perch. But you'll notice that in that video, I'm getting that bait really deep, and I have the availability, the flexibility, you know, to work that bait off of those deep rock breaks, some of those deeper weedy points into deeper water. And when it's clear, having that bait run a little bit deeper is advantageous. But again, you know, I'm not like banging it up against the rocks, which hopefully, you know, some of these bills, these new aluminum bills will handle beautifully. So this is a night eye that Matt did for me. In a 6-inch pattern. I'm really looking forward to throwing this in the springtime. I had a lot of fish come in really hot this spring on the 9-inch model. Not necessarily the pro model at the time. It was one from last fall that he built me in the night eye that, you know, really had some unique roll and some unique action to it that I really liked throwing it, just because it was just a little bit different than some of the other Ridgways, and it really seemed to pull fish. You'll see it in one of my Canada videos too. I pull a really nice fish right in front of Connor. Unfortunately, I blow it out right before the figure 8 and completely mess it up, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so the 6-inch I'm really looking forward to in the spring, because like I feel like there's just some times where they want that smaller profile. I ran into that a little bit fishing with Connor in Minnesota earlier on in the spring, and I'm really looking forward to chucking a profile that's a little bit smaller, a little bit more compact, in order to get some of those fish to go that still have that kind of like thump and pulling power that the Ridgways present, that really no other crank that I have used, found, or throw really does in the same way. So again, this is like the 9-inch night eye model, just a really cool lure. It's got that orange belly. The biggest reason, and I was talking to Glenn the other day on the phone about why I like the night eye, it's because, so you've got this black back to it, and then you've got this orange belly, and then there's a ton of flash in between. So as that bait is coming through the water and it's rolling around doing its thing, these fish are getting a lot of color variation as well as just like a lot of flash as well. So, you know, between the flash and the color, it's very apparent to those fish that something weird is going on in their environment, in their area, and they either want to do something about it or they're just gonna leave. So I feel like most of the time when you're catching fish on these, it's because they're doing something about it. So anyway, that's kind of like the rundown of the pro models, what to look forward to with the Ridgways coming this season. After talking to Matt the other day, it sounds like he's gonna be at the Wisconsin Musky Expo in Wausau. So that's a good place to pick one of these up. Another good thing, and it's always linked below, is his website. Again, you know, he can only put out so many baits at a time. He can only crank out so many runs of these lures, because I know that he does them in increments. So, you know, he'll do a batch of 6s, then a batch of 9s, and a batch of 10s. So like, he's only able to do so many at a time. So you just gotta be vigilant and watch on his website what he's putting out to the public. If not, get on the list in order to acquire one of those baits from him personally. I know that he does take some custom orders as well. Glenn McDonald just recently picked up one of those. It was like a pink and silver and white or something. I mean, it was just a beautiful, beautiful bait. So I'm sure that will get crushed in Sunset Country. Anyway, that's about all I've got for you guys in this tackle talk. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have more questions or clarifications, or need more clarifications on the Ridgway, please shoot me a message. I'll do my best to answer it. If I can't get you an answer, I'll get a hold of Matt and he'll definitely be able to get you one. So anyway, thank you all for watching. Appreciate the support. Appreciate all of your support for smaller bait makers. And with that being said, good luck in 24. We'll catch you in the next one.